Hello and welcome to 20 Lore Pro. We're here today live at Charlie's Collectible Show, Lorcana 10K here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. We're looking at TowelManPurple piloting a Amber Ruby deck list that we saw earlier today with a lot of locations against Cruzitogaming. Some of y'all may know from the Twitch chat, he donated 100 gifted subs. We want to thank Cruzito so much for doing that, and he's piloting a Sapphire Steel deck list today. He's also part of the Lorcana Bros team in Central Texas. I'm one of your announcers, SirAshtown, and join with me today is Hal. How are you doing, Hal?
Still doing good. Yeah, really excited to see a full match of TowelManPurple's list. We basically just got to see some like highlight glimpses, but every time we switched over to his match earlier, it was just like he had like 3 locations in play and like a bunch of characters that his opponent couldn't deal with. So it's really exciting. I really want to see how it starts from like turn 1 and how he gets to those crazy boards that we just kind of flashed into and was like, I don't know how we got here, but this looks awesome.
Yeah, this is what seeing competitive play really is all about. Coming here in set 4, we're seeing decks that we have just really never seen a whole lot of or ever before, and TowelManPurple's list is one of those exactly.
Yeah, we'll see. Sapphire Steel has an amount of answers for locations, but they don't just have like a plethora or endless supply of answers. So if we see something like Towman open up with, like turn 3, uh, what's that? The Amber, yeah, it'll basically he can put Jim Hawkins into play on turn 3.
Oh, the just in time?
Yeah, with just in
Yes.
time, and then put like an 8 willpower location immediately moving the Jim Hawkins too. So, so we see Cruz open up with the Fortisphere. Talman nothing on turn 1, going into turn 2, inking one of those underworld locations, and then just playing an underworld. So let's take a look at this card. This is one of the new locations from set 4. One I'm a really big fan of too. I've been messing around with it in some other strategies. But it basically turns any of your characters into a Hades effect, where whenever you quest with a character at the location, you can pay 3 and you basically buy back a character from your discard back to your hand. Cruz would just cripple one ink, just cycling away, trying to sculpt his hand with these popsicle effects. But no one jump ahead, just Fortisphere, turn 2, Fortisphere, popsicle. But we do see a Fishbone Quill that can come down on turn 3. So let's see what kind of a turn 3 Towelman has, if he does have that card that we were just talking about. We see a just in time putting the cards into play. Wow. So that means Towelman has a 5/5 2 quester into play. Cruz may not be able to answer that this turn, but he's got stuff like Along Came Zeus, or some lists are moving into like Let It Goes and the like now, so he may have an answer for it in a turn or two. But we see the Fishbone Quill come down, and we're going to get an extra ink out of that. Got anything else to do with this one lore? And nothing. And so the underworld does have a 1 lore value. So here Towman opens up, he's up to 2 lore just off of that one location, and then he's got this 5/5 that's going to get to quest for 2 as well. No real reason to move the cards over to the underworld just yet, because there's no value, there's no characters in his discard to buy back as of yet. But now we see Tiana's Palace. So if he ever wants to move the cards there, and it's an expensive move cost to get over there. I think it's it's either 2 or 3 ink to get over to Tiana's Palace, but Tiana's Palace says that characters cannot be challenged while here, and it also has a 1 lower value as well, and it has 8 willpower. So you'd have to really commit a lot of resources into getting the Palace off of the board just to even be able to touch the character that's there. So if he does decide to move a character over there, just gets to quest freely, the locations are still gaining lore, it really just starts all to add up. But Cruzito does find one of his answers to the location. He decides to get the Tiana's Palace out of there, and it is a 2 cost to move a character over there. But Rise of the Titans, just a clean answer to a location, but the 5/5 still questing away, Underworld still gaining that passive lore. Cruzito does follow it up with a Smee, which has 3 attack, which is really solid for a 2-drop. See if that is able to start putting any pressure on Towman's threats over here.
On Rise of the Titans, I know I've seen a lot of rise of these Sapphire item lists, specifically in Sapphire Steel, but playing, I wonder how many of those he has, because it seems like for this matchup, He's going to need every single one of them.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. Like they usually have 2 to 4 answers for locations, just kind of a mix. Maybe not hard answers, but like Along Came Zeus can put 5 damage onto one, and don't forget Baboom can put 2 damage on one. You got Rise of the Titans that can just hit a location. Some Blue Steel players are opting to play a 1-of Avalanche that can hit a location as well. But yeah, TowelMan just putting another threat into play. Just hard cast gets this RLS Legacy in another 8 lore value location. Smee's going to come in and deal 3 damage to it. Now we see the combo of Smee and Cogsworth. So Smee, normally, if you don't have a captain in play at the end of your turn, if it's exerted, would deal 1 damage to itself, but Cogsworth giving it that passive +1 resist, it just takes no damage. So it's just a free 3/3, can quest for 2, can challenge, whatever you want.
Another just in time into a Queen of Hearts, able to allow his characters when they challenge to draw him a card.
Yeah, so we see the cards. Yeah, some flavor combo here. We got the Queen of Hearts cards going into the Smee, dealing 5 to that 3/3, and then yeah, gets to draw a card every time one of your characters is challenging.
Wow, those just in times are really doing a lot for TowelMan here in this game. These locations, though, with their really powerful toughness, quite a bit of a challenge right now.
Yeah, I mean, it makes your opponent decide, like, do I go into the character? Do I go into the location? But I mean, RLS Legacy gives your characters their evasive. Gianna's Palace gives your characters they can't be challenged while here. So it's really forcing you to go into the location itself. But we see Cruzito is going to sing a Grab Your Swords with a Cogsworth and then just play another Cogsworth as well. That is going to take out the cards and put 2 damage on the Queen of Hearts.
That's something about Blue Steel here, really having lots of ways to try to find answers to deal with whatever their opponents throw at them. And we see that here right now, these Cogsworth really doing a lot with giving resist 2 to everything else, resist 1 to each other.
So we see the value of the Underworld. He moves the Queen there, quests with the Queen, pays 3, and buys back those cards back to his hand, and then follows up with a Mother Gothel. So Mother Gothel is usually a big telltale sign that you're probably running Rapunzel in your deck, so you could heal that up for 3 and draw 3 cards as part of the draw engine that TowelMan has got access to. But we see Cruzito ready up his ink and plays a big Tinkerbell, and these Cogsworth are going to start coming into these. Well, he's going to take out the Queen, and then they're probably going to have to start going into these locations. You can't ignore them. He's at 14, and he's still got 3 lore power worth of locations. So it's a lot of threats in play actually on Cruzito's side, but I mean, TowelMan went up to 17 from the locations. There's another RLS Legacy. Yeah, I mean, Cruz is going to have to do something. He's going to be able to take out one of the RLS Legacies, but I don't think he's going to have enough. He has a Hades. There's not even a target for it. You just play it. I mean, you take out one of the RLS Legacies with... yeah, I don't think he has enough. So the Tinkerbell has to go there to finish that one off, and these Cogsworth can't take out either one of those other locations on their own. He can quest for 4, but I mean, I think TowelMan's just going to have 3 lore and go to 20 on his next turn.
These locations really showing why they're so strong and powerful with their increased toughness and any ability that they may have. In this case, the Underworld really having a relevant ability and RLS, and there goes game 1 to TowelMan. Love seeing this list, just utilizing locations to the best of their abilities while also playing strong characters. We saw in this particular game, game 1, TowelMan used just in time twice to get 2 relevant characters on the board. The first one being that the Queen's card, the little painting soldiers.
The cards, yeah, it's something.
This guy, the card soldiers.
Card soldiers. There we go.
And then the second time getting the Queen out, I mean, very strong cards early on and able to make relevant plays when needed. And Cruz, he had such a strong start too. I mean, he played a turn 1 popsicle into the fortified, another popsicle, drew so much, trying to find just all the cards they needed, even having the Rise of the Titans, but just wasn't enough to overcome all the locations on top of those strong characters.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a tough matchup all around for Cruz. I mean, he's going to be on the play this turn, but I don't even know what you're kind of looking for in your opening hand. I mean, you're just going to want some ramp. I mean, I feel like you have to keep a Rise of the Titans in your opener. It just feels so bad. If you probably just want some ramp and then just get some, I don't know, some giant Tinkerbells in play just so that you have some high attack power guys to challenge into these locations. But Talman's just got, he has a lot of questions that have to be answered. And in such an early state of the game, it can get really awkward. And he does we saw him ink that Flynn frenemy also later in the game. So that means that he could have like a turn 2 frenemy and then like turn 3 just in time for a big 5 drop that would start turning on that Flynn for 3 passive lore turn as well. I mean, I could see some crazy openings like turn 2 frenemy, turn 3 just in time for a Jim Hawkins, and then putting a big location to play and moving it there. It's like you're looking at 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 lore in play on turn 3. Like that's crazy.
Well, as we're waiting here for this match to begin, which is really exciting to see, we just want to give a quick word out to our sponsors, specifically Charlie's Collectible Show. We want to thank them so much for allowing us to come out here today at 20 Lore Pro to stream their Lorcana 10K. We'll also be live tomorrow streaming their top 8 from today's tournament, as well as their 2K that they're going to be doing tomorrow on Sunday. We want to thank them so much. Charlie's Collectible Show is a passionate community celebrating fandoms every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring anime, toys, comics, video games, TCGs, and more.
Well, we see Cruz started out with one of the Fortispheres. We saw TowelManPurple ink one of the cards that we hadn't seen yet. It's a 5-cost Pluto. It costs 5. It quests for 2, and when it comes into play, you can heal something for 3. You don't draw any cards like you do with Rapunzel, but it's just a big stat stick that can quest for 2, and it just happens to heal something 3 if you want. All right, so Towelman on turn 2 is actually inking a Flynn frenemy. I wonder if that means he's got something else he wants to turn 2. I see another one in his hand. He may still just, that may be the play. Nope, okay, so it goes with a Mother Gothel.
Are we going to see a just-in-time into a Rapunzel?
It's possible. That's what did we saw. One of the lines we saw him do earlier today. Cruz with a pretty healthy start. You get the Fortisphere on 1, the Smee on 2, the Fishbone on 3 for the extra ink. The Smee, I feel like, could really help deal with the locations, but something would be pretty wild here, actually. If TowelManPurple does have that line you just mentioned, it would fully heal the Mother Gothel, and then it could take out the Smee and still survive. All right, well, instead, he didn't just have it all, so that's okay. Well, we'll see Tiana's Palace come down. I mean, it's got a lot of willpower. That Smee alone is not going to be enough to take it out, and that can start gaining 1 lore turn as well. But Cruz, all the way up to 6 ink, and the Giant Tinkerbell just comes out and cleanly takes care of that Mother Gothel. It's a great play. Smee is still going for 2. Let's see what Towelman he's got in store for his turn 4.
That as you're deck designing and you're thinking of just the most powerful plays, what can I do to just really just take away the game that is just demands an answer immediately and causes a huge change in the board state? Sometimes you draw it up in the drawing books like that and you don't quite always happen, but still a strong line to have available in the deck that as an opponent looking at it would make me pretty fearful.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much the dream start that Cruz wanted in this matchup. Like, you've got the Fortisphere on 1, you had the Smee on 2 that can help pressure some of these locations. You had the ramp on 3, and then you slam the Giant Tinkerbell. Got to take out a character for free just from the come into play effect, and then Tinkerbell is one of the best things at just challenging these locations. But Towelman goes with a Sisu. That would be something that could challenge back into one of these Tinkerbells. And I think this might have been what he was the lines he was seeing is the Sisu wasn't going to have a ton of power because Cruz was running low on cards. But if he decides to go with the whole new world line, that Sisu has 8 attack power now. So it can pretty cleanly take out with this Tinkerbell, unless Cruz does find something. Now, you got to Seeing Whole New World, so he's got 7 fresh cards and still 7, possibly 8 ink off of the Fishbone Quill. So there's definitely plenty of ways he could answer that Sisu before that happens.
And lots of ink on Cruz's side of the board, really just able to play, hopefully, a lot of the cards that he's found here with Whole New World. Maybe even taking out exactly what he needs. There's a Baboom along with the cannons taking out that 3-drop Sisu.
Yeah, and now with the Captain Hook in play, the Smee's going to be free to either quest or challenge away, and another Smee as well. And yeah, I think you just start trying to close the door. Let's get these locations out of play before we start questing. I mean, Cruz has got 2, 4, 6, 7 lore value in play, but I think just shoring up the win by keeping these locations in check. So this will mean that TowelMan can't just start going wide on locations because Cruz has now got enough power to just start taking them out every single turn before you'd even get value out of them. I mean, but being on kind of a rogue deck like this, unless Cruz knows his list, like he could fear something like a Be Prepared.
There's something here that when you bring an unknown deck to a tournament can really bring just almost like a shock value of you're stunned trying to figure out what you're playing against. Once you figure it out, sometimes it might be too late. In a best of 3 format like we're doing here for the game set, it really gives you more time to kind of regain your groove back into your play style, answer what you see in front of you, shift your game's lines so that way you can have the best deck strategy for what you're facing. And that's kind of what we're seeing here with Cruz doing. He kind of figured out I need to get out these characters to be able to challenge very early on these locations, get rid of them. And we're seeing Cruz really display the power of Sapphire Steel to shift into something new.
Yeah, so we see him here activate and banish that Fortisphere to give that untouched me bodyguard. And it's mainly just so he could buy back the Fortisphere with this Tamatoa is coming to play effect. But it could be relevant because now something like the card soldiers won't be able to challenge into, let's say, like a Tinkerbell. It would have to challenge into that 3/3 Smee instead. So we see him go ahead and finish off the Tiana's Palace. So TowelMan is just left with the card soldiers alone and is way behind in the lore race as well. So not much use in just questing for 2 of it. He may end up just having to challenge into the 3/3 bodyguard it's me.
And Cruzito playing that Tamatoa. Sometimes Cruz goes by Cruz Tamatoa or Lorcana Bro. And so it's great to see him playing one of his favorite cards in Lorcana.
Oh, sorry. He actually gave the Captain Hook bodyguard. That makes sense. So he keeps all of his big lore, his 2 lore value guys in play. So that makes sense. It's funny though, like Cruz only has like 1 card left, and TowelMan's on 6 ink. I mean, you don't know what's in this like crazy homebrew. I mean, do you expect your opponent could possibly have Be Prepared out of a Ruby deck? Like, why not?
That's a scary thought to think about, especially with a board as wide as Cruz has right now.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the craziest thing, especially in a deck that's very heavy on locations. It's like the game plan could be put a bunch of locations into play and then Be Prepared. Probably not in something that has some like just in time, but you never know. Cruz also at 10 lore with that Tamatoa is just free to kind of go crazy. I mean, TowelMan's got a couple of CSUs in play, but Cruz should be able to finish this one up, barring something just wild on the other side of the board. Should be able to close it out in the next turn or so.
We see this Tamatoa here. Maybe Cruz possibly having enough to be able to play a Lucky Dime. That would really help shift things along a lot quicker, even though he has so much on board already.
Man, so deciding to go with another whole new world. Oh man, that's so like risky. Like not knowing if your opponent plays Be Prepared or not.
Greedy.
I mean, who knows? These 2 may know each other really well, and Cruz may like just know he doesn't play Be Prepared. But it's pretty funny. It's just like you kind of already have the board under control. TowelMan's low on cards. You really want to give him 7 more? I mean, he's so far ahead at this point. I mean, I think even Be Prepared wouldn't be the end of the world.
There's a Hades here to take out this Sisu, putting it into the inkwell.
Yeah, personally, I'm a big fan of the OG Chapter 1 Legendary Hades Infernal Schemer. I have a mix of those and Let It Go actually in Sapphire Steel right now.
I know some people have been off Let It Go, but Let It Go, honestly, great card at 5, able to be inked, but also sung.
All right. Well, Towelman's got a whole new hand. Let's see if he's got anything to deal with this just mess of a board that Cruz is accrued here.
Oh man, with so many cards in his hand from that last Whole New World, trying to really debate on what his best outs are here, if he has any.
Yeah, with Cruz being at 14, it's almost just scoop it up time, I believe. I mean, Be Prepared would have just been slammed, and I'm pretty positive he doesn't actually play Be Prepared, but be something that I would be thinking about if I was his opponent. Yeah, I see a slew of locations that don't really help right now. We see a just in time, just a turn like 7 or 8 just in time. It gives him a little discount on this Queen of Hearts. So now one of his characters could challenge in and go fishing for a couple more cards deeper, see if he can find what he needs. Sisu gonna challenge into that Smee. Draw a card off of the Queen of Hearts. Not sure exactly what you'd be looking for. Yeah, just a sign he's only got 4, possibly 5 ink left to work with. And with Cruz at 14, I mean, I don't think you might can get rid of the Tamatoa, but then the Smee, the Tinkerbell, the Hades all quest for 2. Okay, goes with a Mother Gothel.
Queen of Hearts representing just another character to try to gain cards if he ends up challenging, which he's going to end up needing to.
Yeah, but it looks like the Tamatoa is going to survive this turn, and that should do it for game 2. I mean, the Tamatoa alone quest for 5.
TowelManPurple really playing it out all the way to the end here, with Cruz having so much represented on board. There's a lucky dime.
Yeah, that would definitely shore it up.
That's but what a great 2 games.
And a bell, just for fun, why not?
Getting off of the bell. What a great 2 games so far from TowelManPurple and Cruzito. This is a best of 3, so we will be going to a third game here in round 4.
We may be able to take a peek at our backup match while they shuffle up and get set for game 3 and their mulligans. Looks like that game has already ended, so we'll hang out here a little bit longer.
While we're waiting on Cruzito and TowelManPurple to get back and finish their mulligans, I'll have a quick word from our sponsors. We want to thank so much Charlie's Collectible Show here in Stone Mountain, Georgia, for hosting today's Lorcana 10K. We're here with 20 Lore Pro streaming today's event, and we just want to thank also Cruzitogaming, who earlier gifted 100 gifted subs to the Twitch chat. Thank you so much, Cruz, for doing that, and Charlie's Collectible Show for allowing us to stream today's Lorcana 10K. Charlie's Collectible is a passionate community celebrating fandoms every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring anime, toys, comics, video games, TCGs, and much more. We want to thank Nexus, who's helping produce today's stream. Nexus is a gaming venue located in Waco, Texas. Nexus offers esports, TCG, and dining, and is an elite gaming hangout to build your local gaming community. Special thanks to Diamond Ink Apparel, who did all of the artwork for today's tournament on the playmats. They do all the artwork, as well as the top 4 artwork that we'll see tomorrow on the feature matches. That is a special sneak peek thing that we haven't shown y'all yet. We'll be sure to share that before the end of today, so be looking out for that. And head on over to Diamond Ink Apparel for any of your art needs, as well as t-shirts or playmats. Lastly, we want to thank GFQ Underground. They're the ones who printed and made the playmats today. If you have a custom artwork or a mat that you'd like to have printed, head on over to GFQ Underground, who printed all of today's mats.
So I see Taking a look at the Twitch chat every now and then when we get a little second. Harlan, part of the 20 Lore Pro family, asking if that bell from Cruz was foil. Yeah, his entire deck is foil, including multiple different enchantments. We've already seen some enchanted Tinkerbells out of Cruz's deck. Yeah, his entire deck is foil.
I was talking to him in a previous tournament. He said he likes foily things, just like Tamatoa. And so he collects all the foil cards that he can possibly get his hands on.
Well, I think this is going to be a tough game 3. I think Cruz definitely needs to be on the play. He's going to have very specific lines and answers for TowelMan's opening. I think it's all going to depend on TowelMan's opening on the play. If he goes, Flynn into the turn 3 Jim Hawkins line with a big location with 8 willpower, it's going to put a lot of pressure very quickly on Cruz's opening. So
we'll have to see if really these early just cards from Cruz and from TowelMan can pay off with the locations. We'll see what happens. I'm really excited about those just in times, and I think it's because I haven't seen them in a while, but I love just the advantage it can give you so early on.
Yeah, I still have nightmares from set 1 constructed of Emerald, Amber, just Cusco is coming into play on turn 3. It's oh my goodness. What am I going to do? But we see the opening. So Cruz does have a turn 1 Captain Hook and turn 2 Smee. This is probably exactly what he's looking for, honestly, because that's 6 attack that could go into a location. But TowelMan did open up with the turn 2 Flynn. Let's see what he's got for turn 3. But I do think those 2 early drops from Cruz could give TowelMan's opening a lot of trouble. It's going to be a really hard decision. I mean, the locations are going to be under a lot of pressure already. We see a Jim Hawkins get inked. We go with the Sisu line. And the Flynn goes and takes out a Captain Hook. And this would probably be, if someone just saw TowelMan's list and opened with the classic Frenemy Sisu line, you're probably not going to want to challenge into this Captain Hook, as it's just going to get eaten by the Smee. Now, the Smee would be a trade with the damage after the fact, but you don't want to just leave the Flynn in play gaining free lore. But the reason he does this is because now the Sisu is left on an open board, and now locations can go unchecked. And especially on turn 4, that unlocks all the locations that are in TowelMan's deck. So this could be an RLS Legacy. He could do the Underworld. He could do the Tiana's Palace. The scariest one here would just be an RLS Legacy and be threatening 4 lore a turn combined with that Sisu. And that's exactly what he has. I just really love that line. It's so unintuitive if you were just going into this game, because people are used to doing the Flynn Sisu lines out of the Emerald or the Ruby Amethyst decks. But in this deck, you really, really want to protect your locations. With 6 attack power on Cruz's side, could give a lot of trouble. But Cruz finds his one of Avalanche, which is an answer to that RLS Legacy, and just as a added bonus puts 1 damage on the Sisu. But TowelMan has the Rapunzel to punish the 1 extra damage.
What are we watching? All these lines. Oh my goodness. I looked away for a minute and I was like, where'd RLS go? Well, Avalanche came in. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're kind of a sigh of relief for Rapunzel's only drawing 1 card, but still, I mean, why not? So Cruz gets his 5-drop into play. It's going to be the Beast. There's no items to break, but just Sapphire Steel just wants a 5-drop into play to sing the powerful songs like Grab Your Swords and Whole New World and Let It Go if you're running those. It's just really important to get a 5-drop in play and get to ready up with it. So TowelMan's going in for 2 with the Rapunzel. Leading back the Sisu so far.
I'm still just blown away at this match that we're watching right now. It's seeing so many things I haven't seen before, and it's great to see these cards be played this way. I mean, even from Cruz's side, we've seen Sapphire Steel, but everything he's having to do to try to keep up and to play against this is amazing.
Yeah, so TowelMan decided to leave back to Sisu, and he did see the card soldiers once again. But Cruz is going to sing the Whole New World, just like we were talking about. And now let's see if he's got any answers for this board. These card soldiers are just so unassuming, but a 5/5 is so huge in this format right now, and it quests for 2.
Cruz inking a Tamatoa.
And already at 8 ink. Gonna go 7, and we're gonna see another Hades.
And no locations on TowelMan's side of the board. Here is that Hades, like you said, Hal.
Infernal Schemer and going for the Sisu, just kind of like we saw in game 1. Sisu kind of unassuming in the mid to late game, but right after a whole new world, it's got 7 or 8 attack power, so not something you want to just leave on the board. But we'll see what TowelMan wants to do, what direction he wants to take on this turn. The card soldiers could cleanly take out the beast and survive that interaction, but no, he's just going to quest for the full 4. I think TowelMan's game is we need to close this out as quickly as possible. We're at 10 lore. But Cruzes have a couple of big beaters in play. An 8 willpower location would survive, but then the characters are kind of risky. But oh man, this is huge. So it's a Jim Hawkins into RLS Legacy and moving both of those characters there, because RLS Legacy says if you've already got a character there, it only costs 1, or it costs 2 less. So instead of 3, 1 apiece to get them there. And Cruz doesn't have any guys with evasive. He's only got 7 attack power worth of characters. He's going to need something for this RLS Legacy, or TowelMan's threatening 2, 4, 6, 8 lore next turn, putting him into 18, which I feel like if TowelMan gets to 18 at this stage of the game, it's almost assuredly going to go his way.
Especially right now with TowelManPurple being at 10, with Cruzito at 1 lore. This is a very scary situation to be in. This turn is vital for Cruz.
Yeah, I mean, the best option, which I feel like if he had it, he'd just slam it right away, is just a clean answer to that RLS Legacy, and that would let his characters be able to challenge in. But if you look, he doesn't even have good challenges into those characters, even if they didn't have evasive. Neither one of them could take out cards of Rapunzel on their own. All right, so we see an ink from Fishbone. We see a lot of ink getting exerted here from Cruz. And this is a tough decision. This just shows the power of TowelManPurple's list. He's got just some different kinds of threats that are really hard to interact with a lot of the main cards that people are running in this meta right now.
Here's another Hades, getting those card soldiers, which honestly, this unassuming card has really been doing a lot for TowelMan.
And then the 2 characters are going to put 7 damage on that Legacy, which is just 1 short. So TowelMan's going to get 2, go to 12. He's got 4 more that he can quest for, and still a grip full of cards. Let's see what he can put together here and see if he can close this one out. We see another Rapunzel, so we could see a line where you go into one of these characters and draw 3 more cards, but I don't know if card draw is really the issue that TowelMan's having right now. He's got a handful of cards already. It's just, you quest for 4, you can go to 16. How do I set up to win the game the next turn? All right, we see a Mother Gala for 3, and it looks like we're going to see that other Rapunzel in hand to just draw 3 clean cards, and that is another 3 lore threatening to quest the next turn.
While TowelMan here having just so many cards in his hand, lots of options, still has 3 ink available to play something this turn, if not shift something over.
Quest for 4, goes to 16, still 3 ink to work with. Could throw down one of these other locations, and no, it's going to be a just in time.
Oh my goodness.
For another Jim Hawkins.
There's another location too? Oh
Palace.
my goodness.
So the Jim Hawkins gets to move to the palace for free.
What a huge play.
Oh, and the other Jim Hawkins decides to move there too. So now, the exerted Jim Hawkins cannot be challenged until that Tiana's Palace is taken care of. And it has, what, 9 willpower or 8?
8 willpower.
8 willpower. So he would have to have an answer to that first before he even could, because a lot of people forget, including myself, the Jim Hawkins that's already in play, it has a passive ability whenever another location comes into play. You can move it to that new one for free. But Cruz does have the Rise of the Titans, but is that going to be enough with TowelMan at 16?
Look at Cruz here with an Avalanche before, now with the Rise of the Titans. for a deck that you're not expecting so many locations using those cards to get rid of that, you're doing it right now. This is really great to see.
So you're pretty much locked into committing one of these characters to finish off that RLS legacy. But then there's 2 4/4s, a 3/4, and 2 1/5s in play that are still requiring an answer.
And he's at 16 lore, committing so much to that one RLS.
Towelman probably with a sigh of relief, seeing that's like one time you're like fine with seeing a flavor sham, like let's commit more ink that does not answer this board, please. Cruz taking a look at over all his options. These Hades with only 3 attack power each, the Beast with 4, the Smee with 3. Something's got to go into the RLS Legacy first. See if the Flavor Sham found any other answers for Towelman's board.
So he's thinking about double challenging.
Yeah, that gets 2 more lore off the board. Okay, trade with the Jim Hawkins. And that still leaves 5 lore worth of value in play on Towelman's side.
To heal.
Yep, and that Detective Mickey's not going to do it. This should all but sure up the match for Towelman.
Wow, we do not have deck lists available from day one, but what an amazing deck that we saw here today. Innovation from TowelManPurple. What a great match here in round 4 from Towelman and Cruz. There's the fist bump, giving it to Towelman here, 2 out of 3.
Yeah, and that's going to do it with us for round 4. We'll be back after a short break for round 5. Stay tuned.